Welcome back to Beers and Breakevens for season 2026. We've obviously got SuperCoach that officially opened to you non-gold subscribers yesterday. It's all happening. It's all flowing. And I guess today, Tim, it marks the official collapse of the sandcastle that is the Cooma Stallions. Welcome in.
What do you mean?
It's just a one-off, mate. One-off premiership. It'll all come crumbling down. Order will be restored. I'm going into this NRL season, and to be honest, I'm petrified of the Panthers because I'm like, fuck, this is the first time in like half a decade their season hasn't gone exactly to plan where they come in as defending premiers, and that's exactly me. For the first time in Beers and Breakevens history, I'm not the hunted, I'm the hunter, and fuck, it has me excited, mate.
I'll be honest, like, as I sit here with the tin in my hand, the chalice.
My tin.
Please. I thought there's a chance you might not show up this year.
Please.
Like, because here's what happened to listeners and newbies and break-even listeners. And hopefully there's few newbies coming in this year. And the first few years, yeah, sure, you took the chalice, you got the win, happy days, good for you, that's all in the past. That was you listening to every bit of my advice. Last year, after a few wins, you went, maybe I actually go half all right at this SuperCoach caper and I can do it myself. So you started not listening to me. It ended up in such big bed shit that, mate, I thought me and Kat were going to be running the show this year. And credit to you, you've turned up, you're here. So, no, good for you. But my question, though, is do you regress to just going off everything that I say again that's worked in the past for you so well, or are you going to try and make a few of your own decisions?
Oh, I've got a feeling that the Cooma Stallions premiership of 2025 is going to be very similar to the West Tigers of 05. It's going to be a distant memory. It's going to be a one-off. You're going to look back in a few years' time and go, how the fuck did that happen? I can't believe that happened. That's like inspiration for like sick children and people that are struggling, that anything can happen. Anything can be achieved if you fall ass first into some lucky picks.
You'll be fucking Cumberland, mate. You had a few moments in the 20s and then you ceased to exist in the future.
I got a good feeling. The Grizzlies, they are back. We're on our first ever redemption arc, and it's very, very exciting. It's going to be a huge year. Now, we have obviously got, shout out to the podcast listeners that just got that corner of the trophy. He's not used to trophies. I keep telling you, it's going to take a little while. Okay?
It came from my mic, by the way.
I have obviously the Roo Crew, so we have got SuperCoach content, everything flowing in there. I did my team reveal in there the other day, and of course we have got SC Playbook subscribers, the OG. What a community they are, by the way.
Yeah, they're a good crew, and they're. Speaking of getting confident, they're starting to throw a bit of extra shade at me this year. I've noticed having a crack at my team list, all sorts of thing, and that's what I want. That's what I want. I actually had someone have a crack at me yesterday in it around Dragons backline, and I actually went in and it forced a change. Yeah, it was a bit of information I wasn't aware of. So
what was that?
Just the shootout for the wing spots.
Yeah, it's an interesting
There's
one,
a lot going on there. So there's some quotes I missed from Flano, and so forced to tweak. So the community, they keep me accountable, and that's what we like to hear.
We're going to talk about some of them soon, but I've got a weird feeling that we're going to focus on all these Dragons cheapies, and we're going to get to round one, and Flano's going to name Sloan, Sully, all the normal boys, and we'll get fucking nothing.
Thank you, because that's what I actually had.
Yeah, I reckon that's what's going to happen here. But we'll see. I'd be stoked to be wrong.
He's revving up the incumbents in Tuipulotu, Sloan, etc., and there's Farley and a few others coming through. But I'm with you. I think we'll get to it shortly.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But yes, we've obviously got SC Playbook subscriptions. Go in there, join it. Best in the business, Roo Crew, all stuff going on in there. We did an exclusive episode last week for Roo Crewers and SC Playbook subscribers. We're actually going to continue to do that throughout the year. We're working out the exact structure of what it will look like. But we think there will probably be close to a weekly, if not a fortnightly thing in there for subscribers. So you guys that give your hard-earned couple of bucks a week or whatever, we really appreciate you. And we want to, I know for me, anyway, obviously for you, they're all SuperCoach players, but for me, Timmy, is when SuperCoach season starts, the Roo Crew goes, and when it ends, there's a little bit of a drop-off. There's a little bit quiet in there. So we want to make it the best SuperCoach season that we possibly can, which brings us to sponsors for season 2026. We've had some great partnerships over the next few years. Very likely those will continue, working out the X's and O's there on the old whiteboard. But we are open to new partnerships this year, Timbo.
Crossing the T's, dotting the I's, and we want to cross more T's and dot more I's and sign more things. So
yes,
we are open to new partnerships. Yeah, if you want to work with Guru and myself in 2026, reach out. We can talk about sort of things like the numbers, what we have to offer, all those sorts of things. Grab a beer, have a yarn, and go from there. How can they do that?
If they are interested, you can reach out to beersandbreakevens@gmail.com. Send us an email and we can get stuck into conversations there, give you an idea of what it can look like, what we can provide you guys. As you've seen over the years, Blue Earth Property, been on for, I think, 4 years now. So long-term partnerships there, working out Lontel. I think they'll be back, but we'll wait and see. But yeah, long-term partnerships that have got results. The amount of people that jumped on Lontel last year was actually a little bit overwhelming for us. Sort of a bit of a pinch myself moment how fucking good this community is. Yeah, there was a couple of big dog streamers in the country that Little Beers and Breakevens actually toppled as far as people signing up.
Cop that, streamers.
Yeah, cop that, whoever you are.
Yeah.
Not that I really know any of you, but
Me either.
not my backyard. But we made it ours last year. And Blue Wealth obviously been fucking flying the last few years, moving properties left, right, and centre. It's been unreal. But yes, if you are interested, beersandbreakevens@gmail.com. Send us an email and we'll get back to you over the next couple of weeks to work out what that looks like. Now, Timbuktu, what have we got today for our return episode?
So, yeah, for last week's episode 2, the Roo Crew and subscribers, you can find that in the Roo Crew. You can find that video and audio on the SC Playbook website. We looked at the top 10 most expensive players in the game and gave our verdict on those guys. Some we liked, some we didn't go near. This week, we're going to go through the top 10 most owned players. Of course, SuperCoach opened up Tuesday morning for the 2026 season. So, yeah, we've got a list. We're actually doing the top 11 because we found number 11 quite interesting as well. So, but how we're going to play it, and this is going to be a theme that we're going to introduce in 2026, Roo, devil's advocate. Because I find it, like I'm as guilty as anyone, very easy to get caught up in, you know, let's say James Tedesco has an injury, first minute into a game, and then he has a couple of weeks off and he drops 250K in price and he comes back and he faces the Titans and the Tigers and it's a good run, the Roosters are flying, etc. You know, he's an obvious buy and he's hard to knock. And we say, yeah, just get Teddy in, don't overthink it. Let's overthink it. Like, let's look at reasons not to get these guys. We're going to do that more often this year, I think. I love it. And I think it's a good way of people out there sort of, I speak to a lot of listeners of the podcast and they look for sort of validation of the thoughts they're already having. So we'll say, yeah, go and buy James Tedesco. There's also people out there going, no, I don't want James Tedesco. Like, I want these other fullbacks, and I don't think the Roosters are going as good as people think. So let's give them reasons not to pick these guys.
Yes, so please listen to what Tim's saying. This episode is based around devil's advocate takes. So if you're offended by what we say about your player or whatever it might be, shove it. It's the point of the podcast. We're trying to find reasons for you. And to be honest with you, mate, I'm looking through this list. There's actually a lot of guys that I really like. There's one in particular.
I could have...
I would leave my wife for, but I'm going to have to find negatives.
Tommy Chester.
A little bit higher up than Tom Chester.
Like, to preface, there's every chance that I start with all 11 of these blokes because Supercoaches aren't stupid. They were a few years ago. They're learning. Everyone's learning.
Yeah, so we're going to try and find reasons against all these guys. There's a lot of guys here that I'm sure we've both got in our team. We'll mention them when we come. But we're going to find reasons not to for all you guys to make it interesting today.
I have found in recent years, and myself included and yourself included, just the evolution of the Supercoach. People are getting so sharp. I suppose it helps with all the content out there, but just experience. It's been so big for so many years now. People have so many years under the belt. They just know the intricacies. They're getting sharp out there.
They're getting very sharp, and I absolutely fucking love it. Community's growing at an unreal rate. Let's start off at number 1, the highest owned player. And I got to tell you, Tim, and you'll know better than me, looking over the years and whatnot, I'm not sure how many times or if I've seen over 70% before. That is the ownership of Jonah Pezet at 72.7%. That is a lot of fucking owners. 70% is enormous. I think it's a good reflection, mate, of just how much of a fucking tire fire 5'8" is this year.
Yes, because if there are better options, you can make a genuine case not to start him. Like, first and foremost, he's not locked into that spot. Like, I think he'll start the season there, and we're going to speak about a few cheapy halves on this list shortly, but I don't think any of them are locked into roles. Like, yeah, they probably get round 1, but he's one that, if he starts poorly, like Josh Papali's there, and he could come in at any point. So, yeah, look, he's in my team at the moment, and he's hard to knock at, 235K to start the season. But just looking at a few numbers, and played an 82-minute game against the Panthers last year for 46 points. Didn't really get major minutes coming back from an ACL injury, I think it was last year. Started the year in 80-minute roles the year before, scores of 38, 29, 26. So he's a good buy, sure, but, you could be buying a bloke who averages 30.
Yeah, I've always said this about Pezet. I like him. I personally don't think he's the superstar that a lot of people have him tipped as. I think he's solid. I think, going to Brisbane, I've said it, since he signed, that I think behind that pack, he'll do well. No doubt about it. They're a good footy side. He'll be fine. But yeah, I'm not expecting him to average any more than 55. I cannot see even a good season. I'm saying even if he's playing really well, I just don't think he's going to be a great SuperCoach scorer.
Or just in general, kind of.
I don't think he's going to be a great SuperCoach player.
No,
I think he'll be solid. He'll have his moments. I'd love to know what he scored in that final that he played last year. That he played incredibly well. But I've got him in my team at the moment. I think he'll make us some good money. I think 5'8" rank. But yeah, what sort of price do you think we'll be able to sell him at? Are we talking like does he get to 400K? 450?
I think, it is very much a guess.
Yep.
380.
Okay. Yep.
I think it's going to be the Mitch Moses show, especially Mitchie's missed a fair bit of time in recent years, yet when he has been on the field, he's been in career best form. Para, they seem like they've got some good things going on. With no Dill Brown there, I just think it's going to be the Mitch Moses show.
I will say this to counter that, because to be honest with you, that was my first thought last year when Hawkins ended up jumping into that 5'8" role. Just trying to get his numbers up here. But Hawkins actually scored, not out of this world, but he still got some attacking stats and whatnot and did okay. Hawkins are notably not a great SuperCoach scorer, but when you have a look at those games, the first game he scored 19, he got no attacking stats, 31 the week after, 50. I think Pezet's a better player than Hawkins personally. I think he will find some attacking stats, and he'll do enough. But I agree with you. I think I had 400 as my number as where I see him, which is still great.
Which is a win.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So I'm just looking at his numbers. This is, keep in mind, this is NRL.com stats, not SuperCoach Fox Sports stats, but, it gives a gauge. For that final last year that he did play and start against the Doggies, had 5 runs, which is probably the equivalent of 1 run in Fox Sports stats. No line breaks, 2 line break assists, a try assist. He had no offloads. He had tackle breaks is always a big one. Can't find it. Sweet. 13 tackles, 2 misses. So again, it's not huge by any means. I think you're right in that unless he is the dominant half and getting a lot of good attacking ball, he doesn't scream SuperCoach player to me. That being said, we're not picking him up at 400K, are we? We're picking him up as an almost basic price cheapie.
Yeah. And if he can just in the first few weeks get on the inside on a support play, if he can just come up with one or two attacking stats in the first few weeks, we'll be okay there. I think his role is pretty safe for the first 6 weeks, in my opinion. I think it would take I don't think Joe Ash is a 5'8". I think Parramatta learned that the hard way last year. I think he's pretty safe for at least the first 6 weeks. At least for the time we'll need him to make a bit of bicky.
Yeah, what I will say is Jason Riles has shown that in this rebuilding phase, he's not afraid to pull the punches.
Yep, exactly right.
And when Pezet is leaving the next year, if he's not impressing, I don't think he'll hesitate. But yeah.
Yeah, very fair. I also think the thing that I like with Pezet is that I think Parramatta will be decent. I think that if Parramatta, I'm confident that Mitch Moses can win a lot of games of football for them. I just think they'll be okay enough for Pezet just to hang around at minimum, is the way I'm looking at Parramatta anyway.
I'll tell you another thing. If anyone's starting Mitch Moses, if Moses were to go down, Pezet plays a far more substantial role.
Enormous, yes.
And would goal kick possibly?
Yeah, Lomax's not there. I'm trying to think who are the other... Is Sean Russell the next kicker, is he?
Yeah, maybe. So probably Pezet.
I reckon he probably
That's
would,
huge.
unless
So
there's
that's not a
someone I'm
bad
forgetting.
little...
Not a bad little play there.
And
Yeah.
again, Pezet, for what it's worth, I don't think anyone's really looking to start him in there
Yep.
and play him sort of thing. So
I think there's a very good chance I sell Pezet before I even have to consider playing him. I haven't looked at buy schedules for other guys, but Jonah Pezet, I don't think there's too much downside, but I don't think he's going to be an enormous Supercoach scorer. I think the beauty of Pezet, mate, as we can see by 72, is that everyone will be in the same boat. How high do you reckon that gets when the season kicks off?
Pezet,
Yeah. If he's starting 5'8", do you think he can tip over 80%?
I don't think so.
Don't think so.
Just and I'll tell you, my logic to this is Supercoach only opened yesterday, so that's the ownership we're running with.
Yep.
This is the diehard Supercoaches.
Well, as you can see below, it's only 16,000 people that own him at the moment.
Yeah. So I think when you get your more casual Supercoach players that start to jump into it, and they don't know the intricacies of cheapies and money making and all
fair.
that. And
Yep.
I think what we're seeing now is probably a good indication of when we do get to round one, what the more experienced veteran Supercoaches are doing.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
I like that. Okay. Pezet, anything else?
No.
Beautiful. Let's move to number 2, Dave Fifita, 485K, 65% ownership. Every time I open my phone, I feel like South Sydney have uploaded something new about Dave Fifita, and every time it gets me harder than a cat's head. I'm very excited about him. But for all the upside of Dave Fifita, devil's advocate, my God, I could write a book for you, I think.
Do cats have hard heads?
Yeah, you never felt a cat's head?
Not
Go
really.
give it a knock. It's like a fucking door.
Cats freak me out a bit, I'll be honest.
Why? Do you have a cat?
No, never have.
You come across like a cat guy.
Spare me. They're just like, I'll be honest, they're growing on me a little bit, but they're just silent assassins.
They are.
You don't know when they're pissed off or if they're happy. So it's like if I'm sitting there giving it a bit of a belly scratch or something, can attack at any time.
Wait till you get to married life, my friend.
Yeah.
Welcome. Yeah.
Fifita.
Fifita, you and me have sort of spent all preseason talking about how, he could be the best back rower in rugby league this year, without a doubt. He could burst into Queensland sides. He could be the Kangaroos' edge back rower come a World Cup in 10 months' time, without a doubt. But there's also the other side of Dave Fifita where he's not in first grade in round 8. I don't think it's going to play out that way, but I've said that before with Dave Fifita, and you're left looking at the most wasted, almost the most talented guy going to waste I've ever seen on a football field at times. But I don't think it's going to happen. But there is devil's advocate. It's huge for this guy.
Yeah, I'm battling more than you because of his price.
Yeah.
And if he was with any other club bar Melbourne, I would share your thoughts. I just think Wayne Bennett's too good.
I agree, yeah.
I just think Wayne Bennett is the fact here that he's probably the greatest. I don't think it's probably. Jack Gibson was a long time ago. I probably don't know enough about him, but Wayne Bennett's the best man managing coach we've ever seen. Fair?
Yep.
I just think he's going to get the best out of Dave Fifita. I think Wayne Bennett has got the best out of people with far bigger concerns than David Fifita over the years, and I just think he will. And it's just the starting process. Put it this way: Dave Fifita starting round 1 at 650K for the Bunnies under Bennett. I would pick him.
Yep.
He's $485,000. We're here to devil's advocate though. Minutes, the Bunnies are stacked. Bennett might sit there and go, I don't want you playing 80. I want you playing 50 and just going hard in that time, which I don't necessarily think is the worst thing for Dave Fifita. I think if he went sub 60, you're getting a bit worried. But I think if he were to play 60 to 65, which is my suspicion, I actually think that's all right for him.
I think that's the most likely outcome. Yeah. I've got him as a 55 to 60 minute guy at the moment.
Yeah, which at that price is okay. You'd be a bit nervous, I think, if you were paying 657 for him. The Bunnies left edge, when it's on and when everyone's fit, probably the best attacking edge in the competition.
Yep.
So that could just explode for him. he could also just be the decoy runner. And they play out the back to Latrell, and Jai Gray, and they just hit those flanks because they strip numbers so well, and he just gets used as a decoy. On the flip side, he only needs one short ball from Cody, and it's thanks for coming.
Yep.
They're my devil's advocates, but I just at the starting price, I find it very hard to make any sort of case against him.
I do think that's a fair devil's advocate in that, for years, I think that left edge spot for South Sydney was great real estate, great players around you, but you never actually saw the fucking football, realistically. I think that when Cody was playing a little bit last year, I think his combination with Tallis Duncan there was unreal, so I'm probably less concerned about him there. But yeah, the devil's advocate is we know what Fifita, the potential's huge, but we know that he can fall in and out of sides. And, I even had a guy message me last night, which I almost threw my phone through the fucking wall. He's like, oh, if Wayne's so good, where's Josh Schuster? And I was like, yeah, let's use the sample size of the one dude in the 55 years that hasn't fucking excelled under Wayne. Miss me. Fucking miss me. Yeah, I feel fine about Fifita, but if we get to round 8 and he's running out for New South Wales Cup, terrorising plumbers on an edge, I'll be like, well,
yeah,
he's hurt me before. He's back to hurt me again. But I don't think so.
And for what it's worth, I can make a genuine case against everyone on this list, including Jonah Pezet. Fifita's the one that I'm like, he'd have to be benched for me to even consider not picking him.
Yeah, and I think even if he is benched, they don't have... Their middles are okay, but they're not unbelievable. I'd
still probably pick him.
I think I still pick him as well. Because the way that he runs and the way that points are given, it's made for him. Absolutely made for him. Number 3 on the list, and the only man to get a double feature in the first 2 weeks is Payne Haas. He was in our top 10 most expensive. He's the 3rd highest owned player at 57.9%. Talk to me, Timmy. What are you thinking here?
Easy devil's advocate here. He averaged 87 points last year. He was unbelievable. They won a comp. He played internationals at the back end of the year. I know that Payne Haas is built differently, but last year was the year of the front rower. It's forcing us to think differently about SuperCoach this year. In the past, we would never have considered paying $850,000 for a front rower, but it's also 1 year.
Yep.
I know Payne Haas is different to anything we've ever seen before, and again, I think he's a good buy, but $850,000 for a front rower in round 1. The start of the year, I think the Bronx have something like 5 of their first 6 or something in Queensland. It's going to be hot, big minutes. What sort of minutes does he play? Does he get eased into the season at least a little bit and play sort of 50-minute spells for the Broncos? I think there's a huge chance that Payne Haas drops $100K after the first 5 weeks and you can pick him up a lot cheaper and use that cash elsewhere. So anyone that doesn't have Payne Haas, I can't knock it.
Yep, I think the way that Brisbane won that competition last year, it was incredible, but it's like nothing we've ever really seen before. I think a lot of it came from that it was pretty evident Madge during the season went Payne. You offload at fucking will. Wouldn't shock me if we get to the start of this season and Madge goes, okay, we're going to sort of play a little bit more of Michael Maguire footy that's a little bit more sustainable, and that might include Payne Haas. Just hold the ball. Let's get through our sets.
Almost as a reality,
hot-headingly.
Almost as a reality check to the Broncos. That's a good point. You get the odd one now and then.
Yes.
That they know they can attack and turn on when they need to.
Yeah.
If I'm Madge, I'm going, boys, I want to see you grind. I want to see you play high, have high completion. We know we're good. We know we can pile points on if we need to. Yeah. So, and that comes back to Payne tucking under your wing.
Yep. So if you take away 3 offloads a game for Payne Haas, that looks dramatically different. That's probably 1 line break assist score in a game. So devil's advocate for Payne Haas. Anything else you want to touch on with him, mate?
Not devil's advocate. He started last year with scores of 104, 99, 140.
Yeah. And I think, I think that is and we spoke about it last week for you subscribers and whatnot. I think that is the overwhelming thing for me is that he is safe to go 70 plus every week. You can't get a bad captain score.
And in those first 2 games, he played 49 and 56 minutes. He's such a joke.
Yeah, he's fucked. Absolutely fucked. Number 4. Oh, boy. Chris Crindle, Keano Kini, talk to me. 495K, 56.2% ownership. That is 43.8% too low. Talk to me about Kini. That was some quick maths.
Quick maths.
Rapid.
You confident in it or you nervous?
Nervous. Never confident.
$495K. He's hard to knock, mate. My devil's advocate of Keano Kini is stacked position.
Yeah.
And not just amongst guns. Like, there are a lot of good value and sort of that mid-tier fullbacks. Like, to name a few, Suafa Alongo, 511K, could start better. Kalen Ponga, 607K, could start better. Like, he's more expensive, but Tom Turbo's 692K, that's nothing ridiculous, could start better. Trey Fuller, 559K, could start better. Jai Gray, 560K, could start better. So my knock is there are so many great options.
Yep. I think the other devil's advocate you could throw in there is that it's a new coach. It's a new system. You don't know how the Titans are going to play their football. I spoke about this in the preseason last year, and I felt like a genius at the start of the year when we were talking about Reece Walsh going, you don't know how Magic's going to fucking use him. And for the first 2 games, I don't think he played on the left side of the field. He sat on the right. It all changed in long term, but he started very slow. I love Keeney. I think he gets through too many base stats to be a train wreck, but, you know, depending on how they're going to play, you might not see him get as many attacking stats as what we're hoping. I doubt it, but you just never know with new coaching. You never know. The other thing with Keeney is I think he's locked in there, but I mean, if you were to write down the top, I don't know, 25 fullbacks in the world, I think there's an argument that I could have 3 of them at the Titans. He might go in a different direction. I doubt he will, but it is something to consider. The other huge devil's advocate with Keano Kini, as you guys might know, you might have missed it last year, but he was actually injured for part of last season. I assume he's sweet to go, but that is another thing to consider. The last devil's advocate I'll throw in, he's actually got a court case that week at the ABO against me, so that might be a little bit distracting heading into round 1.
That will take a bit out of him.
That will take a bit out of both of us. That'll be tough.
I'll look for a co-host that week.
495K though. Is Keeney in yours at the moment?
Absolutely.
Yeah, good. Okay. Yeah. I feel pretty confident on Keeney going into this year. See you on draft day. Okay. Number 5, we've got David Valle. Now, I believe come from the Penny Panthers, gone to the St. George Illawarra Dragons. Has looked really good in trials over the last few years. I think he might have played a couple of games last year off the dome. I guess this all comes from... I love how the SuperCoach world works. You sort of mentioned it pre-show, but like Flano sits in his garage, jumps on a couple of Zooms, does a few podcasts here and there, sets the world alight. I think the conversation was in like mid-December about who's impressed so far before any of the first graders are back there. I think there's a lot of water to go under this bridge. I'm going to tie him in with another guy who I can't even see on this list. Oh, there he is. He's at number 22 as well. Setu 2. Who's bounced around a couple of clubs. I think he's incredibly talented as well. I think it could be either of these two that maybe grab that spot. But we sort of spoke about it pre-show. I think Devil's Advocate, the most likely thing that Flano does for his first game in Las fucking Vegas is picks Tyrell Sloan. And we get the same back 5 we've had for the last year or two.
Yes. Just like you should take everything that you and I say with a grain of salt, take probably 2 grains of salt of what coaches say in pre-season.
Take a beach, and especially with Flano, with all due respect to him, take a beach of salt with you. I've been told things by Flano over the years that I just don't fucking believe, flat stick. And I've got evidence after he said it to prove that it was bullshit. So, I don't know.
They send rockets up players. It generally tends to be hyping up a young bloke to put pressure on an incumbent. Which is good coaching, as you should. Yeah. So, like, Christian Tui Plotter's under an injury cloud for that Vegas game, may or may not play. But if Tui Plotter's fit, he's a starting winger for them, in my opinion. And
without a doubt.
Because, like, the chat, I think, I didn't see the interview, but it apparently was it Setu 2 and David Valle to be starting wing. They're the front runners starting the wing. I'm like, it's a big gamble to go into Vegas with 2 rookie wingers.
Huge gamble.
So, yeah, look, I've currently got it as Tui Plotu, provided he's fit, and one of those pairing, maybe Setu 2. Supercoach-wise, I mean, easy to play devil's advocate because we've kind of just done it, right? Like, you start with a cheapy winger in Valle or Setu 2, and they play round 1 in Vegas. Like, they may, Tui Plotu with the flight to Vegas and soft tissue injuries and all that, like, he might not go over because they're like, we don't want you spending that much time on the plane and all that with injury stuff. And could be gone by round 2 when they come back.
Yeah.
So, Yeah. I mean, he'll be hard. Whoever gets that spot will be hard to ignore. The other big one with the Dragons is pre-season watch, Charity Shield watch, etc. But actually, the Dragons will probably field a shit team for the Charity Shield, won't they?
Yep.
It's disappointing from a SuperCoach perspective.
Yeah, so obviously, once again, the Vegas teams, they will play the first week of trials. There'll be 2 games that weekend. Then I would say the second weekend, they'll send Pelicans out. We might get a run in that game, and then they'll be in Vegas.
What position are you playing?
Me?
Yeah.
Front row, baby.
The big thing is, just remember last year, for the large part of it, they were just so left edge dominant. You'd catch a cold on the right wing. It did, from memory, shift a little bit in the back end of the year to the right wing, but if we can get close to a full game of proper Dragons, I want to see where they're attacking because they do tend to favour an edge at times. So that'll be a big one.
And I mean, the other guy as well, that I don't think he'll come into calculations, but at least he's played first grade, is this Nathan Lawson. Like if they need he's not like, it's not like there's only these 2 young dudes standing there. They've both just arrived at the club. Like, you know, the things we find frustrating about Sloan, hot tip, a lot of those things are guys that lack in experience do, which are both of these fellas.
Yeah.
On another note, I really want to be sitting at a blackjack table at the Bellagio with the money man, Tui Piloto. He's made for Vegas.
They might not let him in.
They might not. It might be a good play. Number 6, up at the North Queensland Cowboys, Tommy Chester, returning from injury, 216K, cheap as chips, depending on where you're buying your chips, 51.8%. Now, this has come about, and thank Christ, I love this. I don't know how you feel about this, but I want Purdue in the halves. I want him to play fullback. He can't play fullback there. Drinky's obviously there. I think they get him into the halves. I think he just needs more football. Opens the door for a centre. Once again, Tom Chester, the reports are he's doing well. He could be the guy. Still an experienced guy there in Valia, who I like. So I don't think he's by any way, shape or form a lock to be in this side, but Tom Chester's interesting, and I would love it from a SuperCoach point of view.
Yeah, SuperCoach and NRL, I'm with you, mate. I think it was Sneaky Pete Bedell at the Courier Mail that reported this one during the week or a couple of weeks ago, that he's a front runner to start at centre. Had his injury troubles in the past, but yeah, I think Purdue in the halves as well.
You like it?
He's too good.
Yeah, he's too, yeah. I thought you didn't like it. I don't know why I thought that. Maybe I just made that up in my head.
Maybe. I think you did. Could have said that. But, yeah, I just think he's a weapon. And when you have a weapon, you get the ball in their hands. And I just like him at 5'8". Tommy didn't at halfback. And if that does occur, it opens up a centre spot. Because I think Zach Laybott will have one. So then it'll be Chester and he said probably Vialia. They do have a few options there. Backline-wise, Jackson Borlo, Robert Darby, etc. But devil's advocate-wise, once again, we've kind of just done it. They have so many different options. Like, could play round 1 and be gone by round 2.
Yeah. I think that's the big thing for me.
Especially with, again, you throw in Vegas factor. The Vegas team could look very different to the team that starts in round 2 for them.
Yeah, 100%. I think that they obviously tried Purdue in the halves last year and it didn't quite work. But I think people really underappreciate, Tim, like the difference between throwing a guy in round 10 and giving him a whole fucking preseason to play a new position. So my worry is, though, that because Todd Payton's under a lot of pressure, if we get to round 3 or round 4 and it's not working with Purdue, I think there'll be a lot of pressure to move him back because you got Jay Clifford there. And if he does do that, as you said, Tom Chester was probably the guy.
Chester three big minute games in 2024. So he played in round 3.
Yep.
Scored just the 40 points in 73 minutes, but 35 in base. Then missed 2 weeks. Don't know if he was injured or dropped, but 62 points in 80 minutes with 29 in base, solid. The next week, 48 points only in 80 minutes, but 39 in base. On a very small sample size, he has a crack.
Was he playing centre in those one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, he's a good player, Tommy Chester. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. So he'll come into calculations if he is there. I guess it is one of the beauties with him that he plays in the first game. So he's one of the early guys we can lock in there.
He's pretty versatile, yeah?
Yeah, he's not a centre. He's a fullback as well.
So, yeah, the only other potential sort of devil's advocate to look at would be just if the Cowboys were to run a 14 at any point.
Yeah, which I think is a concern personally because what's his name's left? Gone over to Hull, I think. Lawton's gone. So, yeah, I think it wouldn't I don't think it's crazy to suggest he could end up in the 14.
What I will say is 216K earlier in the season, who cares? Like, it's you're not going to play him, and he can't really drop any more money. He can drop another 10K, worst case. So if he's sitting there and he's that close to a start, it's not the end of the world, but it wouldn't be ideal.
Yeah, very fair. Number 7, we have got Maxini at 235K at the West Tigers, owned by 50.7% as it stands right now. So that means he's owned by 50.7%, which is 11,000. So there's 22,000 people that have signed on right now. So there will be a lot of changes, Timmy said before. Maxini, I hope he does get a spot round 1. I'm not 100% convinced he will. There are a few other outside backs there and whatnot. But I think it's sort of just team list dependent. He's young. They got. I think the hard part of the devil's advocate with him is the giant fucking blue dot next to his name. You won't actually know whether he's playing or not until round 2, which isn't ideal, Timbo.
Yes, that's not ideal at all. So he would start ahead of Skelton?
Yeah.
Taruva on one wing, Taylor May one centre, Stafford Toa centre.
I would assume
or
so.
Or they could push Taruva to centre if they wanted to keep Skelton and drop Toa.
Yeah, that's what I don't think he's a slam dunk by any means. I think.
Do you think he starts round 1?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Skelton's a fucking good player. Like they're not going to drop Taruva, in my opinion. They'd be mad to move Taylor May out of that side. I think Stafford Toa's been pretty fucking good for him as well. I don't think he's a slam dunk. What I will say that I think, devil's advocate was he's got the bye round 1. It also could be a positive in that his price, if he is in the side round 2, his price won't change until round 4, which means that you can get a free 2-week look at him if you don't own him. And if you want to downgrade someone, which you probably will, you would have shit the bed somewhere. He could be the perfect guy to downgrade to.
Good shout.
That's number 2. That's number 2 for the season.
2 in the first hour.
Fuck
yeah.
Yes. Fuck yes. Don't show up next week, honestly. Just leave me with it.
Be careful what you wish for. So, yeah, that's it. Like, the reality is we're probably not going to nail our cheap CT dubs in the first 3 rounds. Like, you normally screw one of them up and someone gets dropped. So, yeah, with that early bye, we don't know if he's going to be there round 2. He could also play round 2, play round 3, play terribly, then he gets dropped for Jarrell Skelton, who has 8 tries in 2 weeks in Cup, and then he's just lingering there. So I think that's a play.
Yeah, we'll wait and see with him.
Unless he comes out and obliterates preseason, which he's a potential prodigy, so
there's every chance he does.
Yeah,
yes.
in which case, just do it. But yeah,
I've got a feeling he won't be there round 2. Even if he is, I probably won't start with him. But I think as soon as there's one injury there, he's going to be an automatic trade in 2 weeks after that. So I'm okay with it. Let's have a look down at the Melbourne Storm. Lasati at 269K 400. He's at 47.6%. Obviously, we've got the terrible situation with Eli Katoa, who will not be featuring for the Melbourne Storm this year. Someone needs to grab that right edge spot. I think there's a lot of names being floated around here. I think it could go to multiple guys, whether it be Chan, Lasati, and Alec McDonald. I don't know if they want to fuck around with a Jack Hetherington out there. We've seen that. Teams try that in the past before. Plenty of options here. I do think, though, Tim, probably whoever gets that spot, I think I'm going to own. Is that fair?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it's a bit of a placeholder for whoever's
there.
there.
Devil's advocate, another easy one here. Trent Loiero's suspension throws a spanner in the works. I suspect that Bellyache will start whoever he wants next to Sean Bloor long term. I assume will play round 1. There's also a world where Lasati plays that middle role for Loiero the first 2 rounds and then move to the edge by round 3. But there's also a chance Lasati starts at lock for Loiero and then just goes back to the bench and plays a limited minute role, should they choose like a Joe Chan or whoever it might be. I mean, look, if Lasati is named to start in the edge round 1, bang, done. He's in. But I don't like... Eye test-wise, we've all watched him and he looks like a gun, but it's from a pretty small sample size.
Yep.
We don't know what happens at training. We don't see, the little bits and pieces defensively that he may or may not do. He might be a gun, but there might be some areas of his game he needs to improve, and Bellyache won't muck around, especially with his edge back rowers. What's the first thing he goes for in his edge back rowers?
Yeah, defense.
Defense.
Yep.
So there's a chance he's a 30-minute bench forward that does nothing.
I personally think. I just think if I'm Craig Bellamy and I'm going into this season, fair to say they've had more change they've had since fucking maybe Matt Orford left. Like, it's a completely different side now. I understand the Trent Leary thing. I think it'd be an automatic Wishy. You're starting at lock that game. I think whoever he picks on the right edge would just about have to be the guy.
I wish he'll start at lock.
I reckon. Mate, like, I just can't see a world where he goes, okay, Lasardi's going to be my answer to Eli Katoa, but for this 1 week to start the season for his first hit out, I'm going to play him at lock when I've got Wishy who can do it. I reckon whoever gets that right edge spot, they will be there round 1.
Yeah,
is the way I'm looking at it.
Round 3 when Loera comes back. Like, whoever gets the edge
I'm saying whoever's going to be the right edge spot, Lero in, out, I actually don't give a fuck. I'm leaving that guy there to get used to that spot, to defending with Hughesy and whatnot.
Yeah. Again, Joe Chen was really good for him in the back end of the year, and Bellyache put a lot of faith in him. He was shifted out to centre at times when they had injury stuff, and he did quite a good job. But I feel like, and again, completely speculating here, but he looked like he'd won a fair bit of trust from Bellyache for me, got a bit of experience under the belt, so I wouldn't shock me to see Joe Chan on the edge round 1.
Yeah, not at all. And I personally think whoever gets that edge, if it's not Joe Chan, I reckon they'll probably be sharing it with Joe Chan anyway.
Yeah, not in an 80-minute role.
Yeah.
But at the price you can cop it kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. At any of their prices. The other one that I reckon is probably third down my pecking order behind Chan and Lasante, I still think I'm not ruling Alec McDonald out of having a sniff at it, is the other one that I think
Joe
might be
Chan, round 1, named to start on the edge, 309K. Would you pick him?
Yes. Yes, I would.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I just think at Melbourne there's, too many positives to take from it. Get to play outside Hughesy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the key, right?
100% it is, yeah.
If he was playing outside Munster, I'd genuinely be like, I don't love this.
Yes.
But outside Hughes, it's a good spot to be.
It's enormous, yeah. Absolutely enormous. Okay, anything more Lasati-wise?
Nah.
We'll wait for team list to see how that one looks. Number 9 is Trell Mitt, 626K, 46% ownership at the moment. We don't have to talk about the South Sydney left edge anymore. We did it on Bloke this week. We just did it about Dave Fifita. We know how good that's looking. Goal kicking, he's obviously sort of priced it. Fullback sort of bicky there, but I just can't leave Trell Mitt out of a side that I think is going to be decent.
I'm with you. I think Devil's advocating there's a lot for Latrell. Number 1 being the price, like 626. Again, that's his fullback price.
Yep.
Granted, it was injury interrupted season, etc. But his price as a fullback, not as a centre. His output as a centre is not going to be as good as fullback. So there it is straight away. I think he can better that even at centre, and I think the upside is too hard to ignore. There are a lot of people potting the bunnies this year and saying they're too old, injuries are coming in, etc. If you're one of those people, probably don't pick Latrell. Yep. We're high on them. We think they're going to have a big year, which means Latrell's in my team. But there's injury for Latrell. He's priced at fullback numbers. It's Latrell. He could come out and have 4 runs a game for on average for the first 6 weeks. And he could genuinely come out and average 20 in the first 4 rounds. And I would be like, if the attack doesn't come and things are a bit clunky, wouldn't shock me.
Yep.
Why I'm going is because there's the upside of if things do click and he's having a crack and having even 12, 13 runs a game, he could average 90 across the first 4 or 5 rounds. So I'm going in, but there are heaps of reasons why you don't have to.
And I understand this is a long time ago. He's a different player, but I mean, that might be an argument against that. But if you have a look over the last few seasons when he's been playing fullback, last year, injury affected, 64 average, 2024, 89, 2023, 77, 2022, 85, 2021, 82. You go back to 18 and 19 when he won back-to-back comps with the Sydney Roosters playing centre, averaged 64 and 70. I know the game's changed a little bit. I know that he's now the full-time goal kicker. I don't think he was in that Roosters side then. I don't think so. trying to think who would have been
Jeez,
the
that's
goal
a while
kicker.
ago now.
Yeah, I'm testing us here. But okay, even if he was goal kicking, whatever, which I don't think he was, but I don't have an answer for who was, and it's really starting to shit me. Wins, can you do a bit of research there? Regardless, it is quite a big drop. Like, he's actually priced right now at just about exactly what he did in a premiership winning team, playing centre, being the main strike weapon there. So something to consider there.
So
He did goal kick, did he? Oh, we're digging up some stuff here.
2 games at centre last year. Now, worth noting, these games were both coming back from lengthy injury layoffs. The first one was in round 5. He scored 51 points in 80 minutes.
Yep.
That was with his standard 15 in base.
Yep.
But 51 points, you take that. Then he had a 5 or 6 week layoff and came back. Granted, it was against the Titans. At centre in round 23, he played 1 game and then got hurt in that again, but he did play the 80 minutes, scored 79 with 25 in base. So it's like, there's games back from injury at centre.
Yes. Yeah.
And the
I
other
was
thing
at that game, actually.
the other thing with Latrell is, if they decide by round 2 that he's the fullback and Jai Gray is out, everyone buys him.
Yeah, you're going to want him immediately. The other thing I do think is worth noting, and Tim, I'll get your thoughts on this first. Are you imagining that Trell will be left centre, AJ right wing, Jack White and right centre, Campbell Graham right wing?
Yes, except you said AJ right wing, AJ left wing.
Left wing,
Yeah.
sweet. If I'm playing South Sydney, the last thing in the fucking world I'm going to do is kick that ball to Campbell Graham and Jack White. And I don't want to deal with either of those motherfuckers coming out of their own end. I would be kicking the ball to AJ every day of the week, and I'd be trying to exhaust Latrell by forcing him to take that next hit up. I reckon game plan wise, you might see that base lift a little bit. But we know with Latrell, even if the game plan is that,
It's like,
there's no reason why he doesn't go, Jai, see ya.
AJ, have another.
Yeah. But I look at it and I go, I don't think Dave Fifita is going to be the guy sprinting back to get back for that 3rd hit up. So I just reckon there is going to be a lot of ball going to that corner because fuck dealing with Jack and Campbell Graham. Like, you know that's going to be a bad set defensively for you if they start to roll. So I just think there's something in that might bump his base up a little bit. But I also think with Latrell, if you're buying him for base, you're in the wrong line.
Yeah.
You're in the wrong shop.
Put it this way. I reckon in his first 5 weeks, he could go like 90, 23, 90, 28, and it could just be really up and down.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a couple of stinkers in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there will be, but I think there will. If you're like me and Tim and you believe South Sydney are going to do well, I love Latrell, but mate, no one can sniff out a flutter track better than Latrell Mitchell. And if he's got Cody Walker and Dave Fifita inside him, good fucking luck.
And whilst we kind of flipped the narrative there when we were meant to be talking devil's advocate, and it's a bit hard at times because we get excited, but to harp back on devil's advocate, injuries can be lazy. Cody Walker could do his hammy 2 minutes in, then he loses his half. All sorts of things. There's a lot of reasons why you definitely don't have to have him.
100%. Yeah. Once again, if he was 500K, it's a different conversation, but he's cheaper or he's not cheap.
And not having Latrell means you could have, for a bit more expensive, like a KL Hero or a Jacob Kiraj for another 100K. Like, they're wonderful alternatives at the price.
Yeah, for sure. We'll go for one of his teammates at number 10, Hectic Cheese, 235K. I just think for the caliber of player, the price is too good to ignore. I think Devil's Advocate, I guess it kind of, obviously Cheese, he's no stranger to having his dramas. That's the obvious one. He's had a couple of injuries over the last years. That's another one. And I guess the third one would just be what his role's going to be, mate.
Devil's Advocate is just minutes.
Yeah.
Off the bench, probably Mamazelos starting 9. They're so stacked in the pack, the Bunnies. He could play 30 minutes and do nothing. And, like, his Supercoach output is okay, but he doesn't get on and get through mountains of work and mountains of runs as such. Like, he'll tick along and might go to point per minute kind of thing, but there's a real world where Brandon Smith averages his 35 sort of thing, makes his 50K, and kind of like, can we get a bit more out of him? I feel like I'll probably start with him just in that backup hooking spot. But I reckon there's going to be a time this year where the Bunnies do have a few injuries in the pack and more minutes do come, and he'll be a really good buy. Could take some time though.
Yeah. I've got him in my backup hooker. I'm pretty confident he's going to stay there for me. In an ideal world, and this is how I would use Cheese. I've always said this when he was at the Roosters or whatever. Like, I'd start him at hooker for the first 20 minutes, bring him off, bring Mamazellus on, and then I'd use him as a middle just after half time for 30 minutes. If he can get a 50-minute role like that, I fucking love it. He'll make 15 tackles in the first stint. He'll probably take more runs than he should out of hooker. It'll annoy me from a football point of view. He'll score okay. I also think there's a world where he can average 50, 55. And if you get the best version of Cheese, which under Wayne you probably won't, but you might, I just think it'll be too scary to not have him, in my opinion.
I wouldn't be scared not having him just because of the minutes factor.
Yep.
Yeah, like I actually don't think he'll be that good, but I think he'll do a job, make a bit of money. Again, I'm not going to play him at all.
Yep.
I'm just going through sort of the cheapy nines, and there are a lot of players that are one injury away from being in everyone's team. I'm looking at Jaden Beryl, Blake Moser, Talon De Silva, probably to a lesser degree Matt Arthur, Owen Paddy.
Yep.
Like there are so many nines who are one injury away from starting and playing big minutes, but as it stands, that hasn't happened. So Cheese looks the safest of any of those for minutes.
Yeah, I think he looks the safest. And there's other guys in there that we'll talk about when we get to our number 9 discussion. But like Phoenix Crossland, for example, like I'm looking at the Knights side going, is he going to play 80 minutes at hooker? He might. If they pick Tyson Gamble as the 14 off the bench, he might go big minutes there, for example. I think he's at like 350K or something off the dome. So there will be options, but I am leaning towards Cheese as my backup.
Here's one for you. Who's the Storm backup 9? I've just got their team list up because Garlick's departed.
Yep.
On their squad, would it be Gabriel Satrick?
Yeah, and look, there aren't any other 9s down there. Like, yeah.
I'm starting Harry Grant.
I think it's Wishy, realistically. I think Wishy is the backup, 7, 6, 13, 9, maybe center.
Oh, it's Wishy. Wishy be too expensive, but I was just thinking, like, if they had an out-and-out backup 9 and you just plug them in the backup spot, you can use them for your looping.
Yeah.
Captaincy looping whenever you want. And then if Grant misses games, you have a big minute number 9 at bottom dollar.
Yeah.
Who probably will never play off the bench. But I think you're right in that it's probably just Wishy, hey?
Mate, there's Satrick down there who I believe played in their flag last year, who's a handy player. Josh's roommate down there is a hooker who's just moved down there. Like outside of Harry Grant, there isn't another hooker at the Melbourne Storm at the moment. And there's none of those forwards that are like Bronson who could jump in there. Like there really is, yeah. I think Wishy is the backup for 7 positions, and he's not going to be there next year. It's super interesting down there at the moment.
I can't wait to own Wishy at some point this year. I love him so much. He'll play 14 for the Blues one day. There you go.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on Cheezel?
No.
All right. Let's move to now. We decided to do a top 10, and I wanted to push it out to 11 because I want to have a conversation about Ethan Sanders. He's only available at halfback. He's 246K. He's owned by 44.7%. Obviously, the news over the offseason that Kobe Black's gone down there. I rate Kobe Black very highly. I think Sanders is a good footballer. But there's a big part of me that just wonders, as devil advocate for Ethan Sanders, if you had this guy in your system for 2 years, you're so confident on him, why then go and get Kobe Black? That just, it doesn't quite add up to me. My big devil's advocate with Ethan Sanders, who's not in my team right now, is that we get to round 4, round 5, and Kobe Black comes in. I think Sanders will get first shot at it. That's my big concern. You're the green machine, man. Talk to me.
Well, the easy one is, I think most people will want to start a gun half, be it Moses, Strome Hughes, Cleary, Nico Hines. So everyone's going looking for a cheapie backup. Daniel Atkinson is 235K, 10K cheaper. Not that really matters, but a good ball running half.
Yep.
Like, you can't only have one of them because you could flex, but I'll be flexing fullback. I'll tell you that much for free. Yeah, I'm like, is Ethan Sanders that much better of a pick than Daniel Atkinson, both only available at halfback? So you're right. I'm almost looking at it's almost not so much scoring output, but who has better job security. And Kobe Black will be breathing down his neck. That's the reality. Daniel Atkinson has King Tongia, but I think Atkinson will get a pretty solid crack.
I think the other thing you need to consider is that Flano's, come out and said Atkinson's going to be the halfback. He's come out and said, I want to play halfback. Like, if they're gonna drop Atkinson, that means that they have to shift Flano into halfback, which seemingly they don't want to do. They've avoided that like the fucking plague. We've seen King Tongia and Flano together. They've spent a heap of money on Atkinson. They've waited 12 months to get him. I think his job is safe as houses for the start of the season. I think the conversation point is, I assume Ethan Sanders, I think he's a goal kicker, and I assume with Fogarty gone, will he be the next guy up?
I need to chase that up, but I assume so.
Yeah.
Like, he's a goal kicker. I don't know how good. It's a concern for the Raiders. Ethan Strange has kicked a few for us.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of great options. So, yeah, that'll probably be the one that would tip me towards Sanders, just the goal kicking.
Yeah, I understand that, but I think the upside you'll get from Sanders goal kicking versus just the security you get from Atkinson. I've got Atkinson in my side. I feel really good about it. And mate, even when if I'm correct and Kobe Black comes in around 5 and 6, like, I'm not then going to downgrade to Kobe Black. I also am like, well, I don't know what's going to happen at the Raiders. They could have another change in the next few weeks. The counter side to that, if we're not doing devil's advocate, is, you could look at it and go, well, Sanders been there for 2 years, been inside the system. He started slow in Cup last year. He actually finished the season really well, to his credit. Maybe you look at the Kobe Black thing and go, oh, that'll get the best out of him. Iron sharpens iron. It'll get the best out of him. So there are two ways to look at it, 100%. I think you got two very talented young guys down there at the Raiders in a team that has expectations to do well. That they're starting fresh at halfback so they can chop and change if they want, versus Atkinson, who is the main signing going into, he's the biggest signing the Dragons have had in a few years. They've waited a year to get him. There's no one else there. They've moved him to halfback. He's the guy. I just think that security has to matter.
Pre-season eye test.
Yep.
I'm going to watch those trials like a hawk and see who looks better. Obviously, take any word you can get out of the clubs, see who's flying and all that, but who looks the best?
Yeah. Gun to head right now. Have you got Atkinson in that slot?
I've got Sanders, but it's a 50-50 split.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. Before we do hit the frog and toad, mate, is it just anyone from those next 8 spots to the 20 that you just want to touch on before we leave? Anything that really tickles your fancy or that you're a bit surprised to see there, maybe?
No major surprises. Jesse Colquhoun is an interesting one at 332. This is probably throwing the devil's advocate out the window a little bit, but 332k, dual to our front row forward. It'll just be a matter of when Cameron McInnes returns because he will need the minutes. And the other factor will be, what bench does Fitzy go with? Does he go with his 4-4 bench, or does he look to play utility, which has been held by Daniel Atkinson a lot in recent years? So if he goes to the utility, that'll open up more minutes, which I like. But Colquhoun is one at the price where they've just re-signed him, apparently fought off a fair bit of interest from rival clubs.
Yep.
So not in my team currently, but McInnes is sort of fighting for the early part of the season. I think potentially even round 1. Might come a bit too soon, but they're not going to rush him back into big minutes. But yeah, he's one that I'm just, again, going to keep a really close eye on in the preseason because he could be a gem.
Yeah, obviously was incredibly important in their finals run last year. I thought he was unbelievable. And yeah, not only is he re-signed, I think it's like a 4-year deal. So it's an interesting point you bring up about what the Sharkies will do with that 14 jersey because, yes, Atkinson's gone, who's had it. Cade Dykes is already gone, who probably would have been my next choice. So, I would tend to think it'll be one of, and I can't see them, I don't think there's any point having another hooker there if you've got Blake Brayley. So I would be leaning towards it'll probably be one of Puru or Ison. And if you're picking Puru, that'll just be more minutes that'll be lost in a back row spot as well that could affect Colquhoun. So if we get there and it's Ison.
Ho Hepapuru?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
they're brothers.
one of them's
yeah?
a halfback, but I think it makes more sense to pick the lock forward there. Personally, I think he's a better footballer.
He's a ball playing lock too, yeah?
Yes.
So he could also slot it in halves if need be.
Yeah, which, I mean, I don't think your edges are going to change too much realistically. So, the Colquhoun one I find really interesting. I'm not quite sure. I understand the price, but not one that I'd even really considered, to be honest with you. I think Suafalongo is going to be the other one that we'll get to when we get to fullbacks and whatnot, but he's a really interesting chat.
Pre-season
Fullback
watch.
spot's hectic.
It's great. Pre-season watch.
Yeah.
If he lights up pre-season, it's Falongo. He will.
Yeah.
Trials, they're made for him. He'll carve up. He's going to agonise me the whole pre-season, I think. I probably won't start with him, but gee, I hope he plays poorly in the trials, so it just takes the question out of my hands.
Yeah, as you guys know, I fucking froth this guy. I've been talking about him for years. From a SuperCoach point of view, I'm not totally convinced if he's going to be the slam dunk we're all expecting, but we will see. I, for one, thoroughly enjoyed that.
It's good, eh?
It was a good little chat.
Devil's advocate, yeah.
Yeah, it's good gear, good gear. Thank you guys for joining us once again on Beers and Breakevens. Once again, all of the content flowing, all happening in the Roo Crew and for SC Playbook subscribers. More exclusive content coming from you guys on those channels, so make sure you are in and around there. If you are interested in getting involved with the show from a sponsorship point of view, or POV as the kids are saying nowadays, Tim, reach out to beersandbreakevens@gmail.com. We'll have all the information down below in the description. We are going to start with our positional analysis next week.
Yep.
Yes, good. So stay tuned for that. Where do you want to start next week? We're having live conversation. We're taking you behind the curtain.
Oh, I reckon we go hard at fullback. I'm so G'd up for the fullback chat. I want to do it.
Okay, fuck it. We'll do fullback.
Yeah.
Just fullback?
There's no time for
That's
two
enough?
positions.
Okay.
I think just fullback.
Have you got a flex in fullback? Have you got a fullback in flex?
Absolutely.
Yeah, good. So do I.
Yeah.
God.
And that won't be changing.
Fantastic. Unreal. I believe Kathmandu will be with us next week. She's got a couple of announcements, so stay tuned. So that'll be a big episode next week. Very, very exciting. Wednesday, 3 p.m. We're back into the normal schedule. We'll be here each and every week. It might even be some weeks where we maybe go the double. We'll see.
Wow.
We haven't quite done the maths, but we'll see. We're not great at maths
If you haven't
either,
put
so
that together,
stay
we
tuned.
haven't thought too far ahead.
But yes, make sure down in the link below, you have got SC Playbook subscribers. You've got Roo Crew link. Jump in there. Sponsors, beersandbreakevens@gmail.com. I'm doing circles right now, so we're going to go. But thank you for joining us once again. Welcome back to season 2026, the rise of the Grizzlies.